Strength Warehouse presents Go Heavy or Go Home podcast. I am your host, Nate Boley. In this podcast, we talk about strength, fitness, nutrition, and all things Strength Warehouse related. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. It is January 2024, so make sure you're writing 2024, not 2023, like myself. Anyway, today I've got Luke Martin, one of our coaches here, and we're just going to have a little roundtable discussion. So what's up, Luke? How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, Luke, you've been with us for now just over 8 months, I think?
Yeah.
How's your perception of Strength Warehouse and coaching in general changed, or has it at all?
My perception of the gym hasn't changed quite so much. Coming in, I went on y'all's website. I was like, gyms in Bend, where can I apply? And so I had a pretty good idea of like what kind of training y'all did here. The community aspect was like very present on the website. So
cool.
The perspective on that sense hasn't changed. My perspective on coaching, I'd say it's more evolved rather than changed. It's like working with my personal client. That's mostly what I've been doing here. It's definitely more of almost like a friendship dynamic where it's like, we're just kind of chatting, and he happens to be doing a workout that I wrote, but it's really just getting to know him kind of as a person.
There's a personal connection.
Very much so, yeah. The training has been much more personal here than in the past what I was doing.
Okay, yeah, because you're doing more of a kids group style coaching stuff. It's hard to create connections with kids that are half your age or whatever.
Yeah, and they're coming in like doing camps, so they're not regularly coming in. It's just for like a week at a time, a couple times a year. Yeah. So we get to know their names and kind of like what stuff they like to do, but that's about it. Yeah,
I think that's one of the biggest things is, there's two really biggest things with personalized coaching versus like group style. You get that personal connection, you have the flexibility of time, and then you also have customized programming. You can change on the fly, but it's not just like an umbrella type program, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. You've also been doing some like on-ramps and stuff as well.
Yes, yeah.
And sometimes those turn into, which is how your client does an on-ramp, turn into one-on-one sessions. That's awesome. Have you had any like big wins here since you started with us?
Well, obviously, going from an on-ramp with someone who was going to go into classes and decided he wanted to just work with me, that's I gotta say that's definitely the biggest win.
Okay.
Just kind of settling into my role here, getting to know everyone else, just kind of like over time, both members and the other staff around here.
Yeah.
It's been really good to kind of establish myself in the community.
Cool.
I'd say that's a huge win, just because that is kind of the culture of the gym here. So
100%. When we hire people, we're always like, hey, it's nice to have you guys do classes up front and like come to some parties and stuff like that, and really just get connected with the community. Mm-hmm. And that helps you out in the long run as a coach, like establish your authority, and also establish just, hey, I'm here, I have a presence, and I'm here to help you. What has been the most fun since you've been coming here?
There's a lot of stuff it's like this whole just being here is fun. Like I very much just enjoy whether I'm coaching someone or if I'm just sitting in here doing open gym or if I'm catching the tail end of the Tuesday, Thursday night classes when I'm coming into clean.
Yeah.
I just like being here. The environment of the gym. Gym has always been my second home.
Sure.
But this place in particular is like I just love being here. It's fun every time I'm here. Love the equipment too. It's a lot. So
we do have some of the most specialized equipment here in Bend, I would say, for specific training.
Definitely.
Right? There's other niche gyms that have stuff that are super specific to what they're doing too. But just for like the strength training and the powerlifting specifically, there's lots of toys.
Yes.
Yeah, most of those were bought because I wanted them. I think that's how it goes with gym owners. They're like, I'm just going to buy all the stuff that I want to train with.
Yeah.
And then you realize, well, it doesn't always make the ends meet and stuff like that.
What other reason do you need? Come on.
What other reason you need? I know a lot of gym owners, they end up going back into their garage gym. They have all their toys in there. I have no plans on doing that. I just plan on lifting here. Okay, what has been something that's been the most challenging? Or has there been anything?
You know what? It kind of goes along with like what's been the most fun or like the biggest wins around here is like getting ingratiated in the community. I'm not good with names either.
Yeah.
And like I don't teach like very many classes on the backup for that.
Sure.
And everyone's so good about doing what they need to do, so I don't get a chance to interact with like the groups as a coach as often.
Sure.
So I guess just kind of getting to know everyone's names has been hard.
Yeah, and so I come from an automotive background where I really never got to see a ton of clients. I was never client facing. Well, until the end, when I was working at the shop, I was client facing, but I was mostly vehicle facing. So I would know people by their names. Mm-hmm. And the first 2.5 years I was here coaching, I would literally not know people's names. I would just know what cars they drove. So I'm like, you drive a Ford, you drive a Subaru Forester, you drive this car. And I was like, okay, it's not that I'm bad at names, I just wasn't looking. I wasn't trying to practice it. So I highly encourage you to do that. If you don't know somebody's name, just try to figure it out, right? Yeah. Introduce yourself, and then there's little cues you can do and stuff like that to help them with their names. Also, joining in on the classes, and then going around and be like, hey, I'm Coach Luke. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you want to work out together? Stuff like that. That really helps a lot. So, okay, awesome. And you went through our whole onboarding as a coach. It's actually evolved since we've brought you through there. Mm-hmm. But how was that, and what do you think of that?
I really liked it. I mean, we're coming back to this kind of like meeting everybody in the community piece. That was super helpful.
Yeah.
Getting in early, like to some of those classes before I started even doing anything around here, was just like come in and do 3 classes for like, I think it was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Getting a feel for how the programming was done. Sure. I know we've since changed the programming, but the general feel of the class, the general sense of the community here, just kind of how things run, see the operation from a client perspective, to then come over to the coaching perspective to be able to provide that environment that the clients want.
It's very difficult. That's why we did that, because once you become like an owner or employee or something like that, you don't see what the client sees.
Yeah.
And so that can very much put a distinct bridge, or not bridge, but a gap in between. We might think our programming and our service is just amazing, but then clients don't, and we're like, well, how come they don't see what we see? Well, we have to put ourselves in their eyes as well. I'm not super good at that, but Megan's very good about that. She comes into the classes and does a lot of that type of stuff, and I don't get to see a ton of that, but I try.
Yeah.
I try. Okay, I built out like a whole Google Doc with a bunch of videos and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy those? Were any of those helpful for you?
Those were definitely helpful. Calm my nerves a little bit. I think starting any new job is a bit stressful. Yeah. But especially something like this where it's like, okay, this is something I really want to do. Like I want to leave a really good first impression. I want to do everything right. Because I'm very thankful for this opportunity.
Sure.
And that definitely helped me out. Like it gave me an idea of exactly what to expect. The standard operating procedures were very clearly defined. I mean, we've gotten them written out too, but I think sometimes it's helpful to have it read to you as well.
I'm very much that I hate reading books, but I love audiobooks.
Yeah. So just get two types of transmit.
Just inputs, different inputs. Yeah. Some people learn more of hands-on. Mm-hmm. Some people learn more reading. Some people learn more visualized, and so it's nice to have all 3 of those.
Exactly.
You start out with some visual stuff, then you have some paper stuff to read, and then you actually get hands-on stuff. And hopefully, it's actually changed a little bit since then. We're developing it as we go each time. We haven't hired anybody else since you, but our next, hopefully, every time we get a new employee or a new coach, it'll be that much better.
Yeah.
So, okay, awesome. And you have coached some classes, and now you have a personal training client.
Yes.
Are you learning and having fun doing that type of stuff?
It's so much fun. Yeah, I absolutely love any opportunity I can get to coach the group classes is super fun.
Yeah.
I love I notice even if I'm having a kind of more tired day, I'll come in here and boom, I'm
You're on.
I'm firing on all cylinders. I've got a ton of energy. I'm just super happy to be there. Super happy to see everyone.
I feel that same way. I remember coming into some group classes. I'm like, man, I've got to bring it. I don't want to. I don't have the energy.
Yeah.
And then you start, and you're like, okay, you feed off of each other, right?
Yeah.
It's
definitely.
Great. Especially if it's where people are starting to get PRs and stuff like that.
It's super fun.
It is so much fun. I miss doing max effort weeks and stuff like that. Coming in and doing them. I have to come in and check those out.
Yeah,
because it's a lot of fun.
And as far with the PT training, it's super fun writing the programming.
Sure.
Once I got to know Jordan a little bit through the on-ramp process, it's get the sense that he really wants to push, and so like, all right, I'll write some workouts that really just let you kind of like push as hard as you want. I'll be here to help, like motivate, but safe. Like. Yeah, like it's so much fun just feeding off the energy of everyone. If someone comes in like, let's go hard today. I'm like, yes, let's go as hard as we can today. I'm with that. Or someone's like, hey, like my knees bother me. I can't go as hard, but I'm still here and I want to do it. And it's just that's the same energy, just on a different wavelength.
100%. Yeah, it takes a lot when you're not feeling great to come in and keep doing it.
Definitely.
So
and
that's a lot of the reasons why like coaching matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get this all the time. Oh, you own a gym, it must be so easy. You just go in there and work out. I'm like, yeah, it's not that easy.
No.
You're like sitting here, you're like, I've already coached like 7 people. I've already lifted a bunch of weights. I'm tired. I've got more things to do, and now I've got to do my own stuff.
Yep.
And that's why I have myself a coach. It's easy. You text me, like, hey, what's going on? What are you doing today? Okay, when are we getting it in? Okay, I'm getting it in.
Yeah, that accountability is awesome.
Accountability is huge. Even if somebody's been, this is my 19th year lifting.
Yeah.
It's a lot of years in a row. I've only taken I've never even taken any more than like a week off at a time, other than squat and bench or squat and deadlift, because I just keep on having injuries.
Yeah, that'll do it. So
that'll do it. All right. Anything else? Like, what's your favorite? Do you like more of the personal coaching, or more of like the group style coaching, or like the on ramps? Like, what's your favorite?
So far, I've been enjoying the personal training more. I think that might just be because I've done more of it with the on-ramps and the personal client. Just really getting that deep personal like connection. I think that's like so important when you're training someone. Like you need to know how they operate as a person, and that goes into how you write their programming, and like you can kind of just get a read on like. I write my workouts before Jordan comes in, and if he comes in with like a weird energy, not his normal one, I might change a few things on the fly, right then and there, just because I know him now.
Sure.
And I think that's really important and really helpful.
I think so.
And it's a bit easier to foster those relationships in a one-on-one environment.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're totally correct. You have a whole 45 minutes to an hour to get to know them and talk to them multiple times a week. That's great. All right. So also, the last time we talked, you had just done our Summer Strength Wars as a spotter bloater.
Yeah.
Looks like you're getting ready to compete in April. Am I correct on that?
Yes, you are.
Okay. What's your plans for the meet?
Have fun. Okay. I'm not going in expecting to, do any type of well for my weight class. I'm pretty heavy right now.
How heavy are you?
I am around 205 pounds.
Okay. You're catching up to me, dude.
Yeah,
I weighed in this morning at 217. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm chubby as hell.
Yeah, so I'm pretty heavy. My strength is definitely not where it used to be, since injuries and whatnot. So it's just going to be a really good experience. Get to be there with the team and everything. I think it's just going to be a ton of fun.
It's going to be a ton of fun. I love the April meet. It's such good energy. It's a great spot. I love all of our meets, but that one specifically, I really enjoy that one.
Yeah, it's inside. We don't have to set up a tent.
No, the setup. That's probably one of the best things about this meet. Is literally the setup is so easy compared to our July meet.
I bet.
It's so easy, and you saw a big portion of it because you were here in our July meet setting up. But like, there's so much other stuff in the back end. Once it's all in my truck. Then I have to go multiple rounds back to the house, to the storage unit, to the tables and chair place. Like, there's just so much that goes into it, and I love doing it. But it's also like when it's coming up, I'm like, oh my gosh, here it comes again. The whirlwind of July.
Seriously.
Literally most of July, I have no clue what's going on. I'm just so focused on like making sure that meet runs good. But yeah, it just takes up my whole July.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a pretty big event.
It is a pretty big
event. A lot of moving
parts.
parts.
And this will be our 4th year doing it. I think it just gets better each year.
Yeah, this one was like I said a ton of times. It was a ton of fun, great experience.
Other than the wind trying to take the tent away, that was
that was a bummer. But at least there was no smoke. We were kind of worried about that week leading up. So
even the year before that too, we were still worried about there's smoke. Bad smoke, right up until a few days before the meet, and it cleared out. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank God.
Hallelujah.
I think that meet has had more stress on me than anything, because when we first started it was in COVID times, 2020.
Oh yeah.
And literally 3 days before the meet, Kate Brown, our governor at the time, was like, nope, you can't meet outside more than 4 people. and I was like, what? So we have like 55 people coming in 3 days to this meet, and she's telling us that we can't do it. And then like the day before, they had said we could do anything outside, and I was like, oh my gosh, so good. So good. I was freaked out.
Yeah, right down to the wire on that one.
And then the next year it was super smoky, so that was 21. And then actually this will be our 5th year coming up. Okay. Yeah, it was smoky in 2021, smoky in 2022, and then it was still smoky in 2023.
Yep.
But the winds came up and like tried to knock the tent over. We have provisions for that now this year, this next year, so that won't happen.
There we go.
But yeah, what's your favorite lift?
Definitely used to be my squat because it was by far my heaviest lift. So it's like, obviously my ego loves that one. Sure. But, it's since transitioned to my bench press because that's my worst lift. Okay. And it's like, all right, I got to get that up at least somewhat on par with my other ones. Sure. So, interesting change there for sure.
But. Hey, well, sometimes it's nice to shift mindset perspectives or whatever and be like, I'm going to make my worst something the most fun, because then you're going to put more energy into it. Yeah. And as humans, most of the time, people always just try to work on their strengths, and they never really put a ton of effort into their weaknesses, which they get only so far with that. So putting in work on your weaknesses is super great. So congrats on that. Yeah, my favorite lift used to be the squat, but man, it's just I've had so many injuries with it, and it just sucks sometimes, and it just doesn't feel good. Now, it's probably, bench press always feels pretty good. It's probably, bench press is my favorite one. My deadlift is my heaviest one, so I love it when I get to lift that one. Yeah. But that one doesn't always feel the best either, just because the same moving parts for the deadlift and the squat, essentially. Recently, earlier this year, or I guess later last year, mid-last year, you had an accident or an injury. Yep. What happened, man?
I got hit by a car on my bike and fractured 2 vertebrae and broke my left scapula.
Yeah. And you had a big recovery from that.
Yeah. It was interesting. They didn't need surgery, thank God. They told me something pretty interesting in the ER. They inflated my ego quite a bit. They're like, you had enough muscle mass that none of the bones moved, so you don't need surgery. I was like,
that's awesome.
Thanks, doc. Yeah. Appreciate that. But essentially the only thing I was told was if it hurts, don't do it. Yeah. If it doesn't hurt, do it as much as possible.
So the scapula was just fractured all the way through? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not like dislodged or anything?
No, it was just a clean break. They showed me the x-ray in the hospital, but they had me on a lot of morphine and Ativan, so I don't really remember it that well, but I was like, oh, there's the line. Yeah. I got extremely lucky with how that panned out, and my recovery was, remarkably smooth and easy. Yeah. Compared to what, I think most people assume when they hear, fractured vertebra. That's PT.
Yeah, for sure. Or just like in a freaking cast or something, right?
Yeah, or like bed rest for a month.
I guess it depends on how, like you said, just how they're broken. Yeah. You can get a stress fracture, you can get all sorts of different fractures. And if it doesn't hurt, like, I remember when you were out for a few days, for sure. Yeah. The gym suffered. It was not clean at all. But you came back full force, and that's awesome. And it took you, a couple months to get back to some lifting?
Yeah, there was definitely a mental block from deadlifting and squatting.
First they told you not to do it, right?
Yeah, they said 2 weeks, stay in bed. Then after that, you can start, they didn't tell me to do this. They were like, you can start moving around. And I just took that to okay, I'll just go lift really light and not do my compound movements that load my back. Yeah. Because it didn't hurt, and that was what they said. If it doesn't hurt, do it. Yeah. And so I definitely kind of took that rehab process into my own hands a little bit. It could have gotten dicey, but we got lucky. And now I'm feeling like I'm back in full force now. I still have some aches and pains in my back, but nothing that really bothers me. It's not during lifts. It's I'll sleep weird or something. Sure. Wake up and I feel old.
Well, yeah, man, I was going to say that just happens with age too. I woke up this morning, I'm like, oh man, my back. Yeah. As you get older, that just happens. Now we can, do things to kind of prevent that from happening, but I think you're always going to feel that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But we're back, we're squatting, we're deadlifting, we're getting up in weight. It's definitely not where it used to be. It's not where I want it, but I'm happy with how it's going. Yeah. Cool. We're on the up and up.
Yeah, awesome. You have any other plans going forward with the gym? Anything else in your life, plans wise?
Yeah, I'm doing this bodybuilding show in Oregon in November. Tiara's helping me prepare for that, so that'll be really cool.
That was one of the questions I didn't have on here, but so Tiara, she's our nutritionist, and you were stalling out on your games, and take me through that real quick. You asked her. It was in the office, and I heard you talked to her, and I'm like, this is going to be good. I'm like typing along, like this is going to be great.
Yeah, so I have for the past 4 months been on a pretty hard mindset of I'm gaining weight as hard as I can. I was eating in a 5,000 calorie plus diet a day, and I hit 210 pounds and was like, all right, I'm a little too soft for my liking right now. It's time to cut down. My family was coming out. I wanted to look okay.
They're like, Luke, what happened to you?
Yeah, seriously. My acne was getting bad. It was a whole storm. So I was like, all right, I need to cut down, diet down a bit. So I was gonna just do a super harsh cut. I don't really know much about this. I'm not a professional nutritionist. I'm not certified in that. And I definitely like to just play it by ear for myself.
Yeah.
Treat it like a little guinea pig. And she heard what I was doing and was like,
well, so then did you tell her what you did for cut?
Yeah, I was gonna drop from 5,000 to 1,500 calories on a dime. No baby steps in there. She was like,
first of all, that would suck.
Yeah.
Second of all, it won't work.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what she told me. And she then gave me some information that I needed and was like, no, this is what you're gonna do. This is how you're gonna do it. Ask me any questions, and we just kind of been chatting about it since there. Now we're doing some reverse dieting. I went down to 2,000 calories for a week and 2,500 calories for a week. Then I got to run wild for 3 days because of Christmas.
Yeah.
With family and whatnot.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what holidays are for. So
100%. Yeah.
Ate like crazy, and then came off 2,500 for a week, and then we've been on 3,000 this week, and we're going next week 3,000 again, just with some macro adjustments, and then once that's looking good, 3,500, which is my maintenance level.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll just see where it goes from there, see what happens.
Cool. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I have done bodybuilding preps before, but never got on the stage. I just don't. I could now. I mean, back when I started, they didn't have the board short stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, Speedo does not sound very fun to me.
Yeah, I'm wrestling with that right now. Which division I want to enter in, either men's physique or classic. So we'll see. Not expecting to win that either. It's definitely the same mindset as the powerlifting.
Sure.
Just go get the experience, have fun with it. Say I did it.
Where's the bodybuilding show in November?
Albany, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it oh my gosh, what's it called? The Eagle? No, it's not the Eagle Cup. I can't remember what it's called, but I know the guy who runs it up there.
Yeah, I honestly haven't even looked into it. Tiara was like, do you want to do this? I'll help you. I was like, absolutely.
Because she wants somebody to do it with her.
Yeah, exactly. So now she roped me into it.
Yeah, bodybuilding's hard by yourself, man. You can do a powerlifting meet by yourself. You can do a CrossFit competition by yourself. Bodybuilding is it's 99% mental.
Yeah.
Because you have to really grind the workouts out, and you really have to be on point with your macros and your nutrition. And it's just grueling sometimes. That's why one of the reasons I stopped doing it, I was like, I hate dieting. I can't do it. I've done it 3 or 4 times. It got pretty shredded looking, but I was like, I'm sick. I don't want to eat chicken breast and freaking egg whites anymore.
Yeah, no, weighing out every single bit of food I'm putting into my body before I cook it, or after I cook it, is definitely a painstaking process. And it's
a lot of pre-work, but the other part of it is just you're just sitting there and you're hungry, or you think you're hungry, and you've just been drinking water, and you're just like, I hate water, and I hate chicken breast, and I hate rice, but that's what the meal calls for. So,
it's
all a mindset thing. It's hey, at the end of this, it doesn't matter. I can go back to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just have to, and I think it really helps with people with being able to do harder things, right?
Yes.
It's just not for me. But
yeah, it is.
Congrats to you.
Thank you. I just want to prove to myself that I have the discipline to do it. So,
sure. Yeah. And you're still young. I think when I did mine, I was 24. I never did the show, but I actually signed up for it. There's a bunch of people in our gym that were doing it, and I got ridiculously stage lean. I was super lean. I wasn't very big, but I was pretty lean. But I didn't have a lot of mass to start with. I think I started out at 170 pounds, and then I ended up barely under 150 by the time I was done. So I was a skinny.
Wow.
Yeah, skinny kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm very curious to see what my weight is going to be like when we get like to the end of prep?
It probably will be somewhere in like the high 170s.
That's so much weight to lose.
Yeah. I don't know. You asked here, but that's probably where I would guess. Probably in the light, like maybe like middle 180s.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how fast you get lean. Some people lean out really quickly and preserve muscle mass, and some people don't. So that was me. Like I drop almost all my muscle as well, but
yeah,
I didn't do it the correct way probably either. I just followed kind of what everybody else was doing.
Yeah.
But cool, man. Well, thanks a lot for being on the podcast again. Coach Luke Martin, he is one of our coaches here at the Strength Warehouse, and he's ready to take you on if you want to do any skill sessions or just want to see what he has to offer.
Yeah, anything and everything, just let me know. I'm happy to help.
Cool, man. Well, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for joining us on this podcast today. I'm going to send you off with my new quote for 2024, and that is, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And everything you want in this world is on the other side of your fear. So go out there today, take some action, and go kick some ass. All right, later, guys. Thanks for joining us on this epic journey of strength. If you liked this episode, please leave us a review and share with a friend. To stay connected, hit that subscribe button. All right, until next time, go heavy or go home.